last time on Oz Hour?
Okay, last time on Honest Hour, Johnny B. Do It, he does the thing and disappears, and then they go on their little boat on the desert, crash lands. They somehow manage to fly up onto a land. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And they're there on land, and then all of a sudden they see this cute little pond, and they're like, oh my god, it must be the Truth Pond. And fucking, what's his name, Button Bright fucking slips in, then the Shaggy Man jumps in, and all of a sudden they got their heads on right, and they're like, woohoo, yeah, let's keep going. And then on their way, they meet Belina, and they meet TikTok, and now they're in the Winkies, and they do things with the Winkies and the Tin Man. They go to the Tin Man and they start eating. And once they're done, they decide that in the morning they're all going to go to Oz. The end. Done.
Hi there, and welcome to Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 5, The Road to Oz, covering chapters 16 through 19.
We're your hosts, Blake Stone.
And Wyatt Swangham.
And joining us, as always, is our resident Oz initiate, Hannah Aguirre.
I am here.
You always have the facts just lined up.
Someone's
Facts
gotta...
number 1. Bueno. Fact number 2. I am here. Hannah, you just played last time on, where you recapped what happened last time on Oz Hour. How long did that actually take? I didn't write it down.
That was 57 seconds.
Okay, 57 seconds, less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Weird. I did write things down there, so I don't really know what grade to give you, but he's not called Johnny B. Do It. I think you were thinking of the song Johnny Be Good.
Yeah,
that's just Johnny Do It.
And that's the first thing you said.
Yeah,
I think
that was
the
like
first
the
things out of your mouth were Johnny Be Do It. So you were eager to get that out there.
I thought that was the name.
The Truth Pond is located in the center of a ring of trees. You just said they land. There's a cute little pond. It's actually kind of creepy. Also, I don't really know what you said at the end there, but sure. At the end you said that's how you do it, and I mean it was so confident that's the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, and I have a few edits to that. I'm fine with that. You did okay, kid.
Yay.
Good work, kid.
Thank you.
Well, as usual, Papa Wyatt went ahead and whipped up some cocktails for us. So what are we going to be enjoying
tonight?
Papa.
Tonight, we are drinking a Blueberry Dream, but that's berry spelled BEAR-Y, so like the mammal. The recipe for which you can find on our Instagram at Oz Hour Podcast.
Let us slurp. That homemade syrup is delicious. That shit's thick.
Ooh.
That's thick.
That's like a Frosty.
I really like that.
Chapter 16, Visiting the Pumpkin Field.
So, you might remember that, like, last time, like, Button Bright fell in love with TikTok, and he wanted to wind TikTok up next time. So we're starting this episode first thing in the morning when they all wake up, and that means that TikTok needs to be wound up. So Button Bright's like, can I do it? Can I do it? And Dorothy's like, yes,
and
you can do it.
This is enough winding to get them to the Emerald City, apparently. And it's a little confusing to me, just because of, like, the times that he's wound down before, and, like, how often does he really need to be now?
I think he's
is
faking.
there a limit?
It confuses me, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying, there's no consistency.
Well, maybe they have a... I don't know, actually.
That was okay. You're such an apologist, but you have to do your research. So L. Frank Baum, like, takes some decent time telling us that the Tin Woodman and TikTok are both made of metal, but they are not the same. Do not dare think they are the same.
Oh my.
He's like, one is living, one is machine on the inside. One is tall, one is short and round. One of them is capable of being loved, and the other is unlovable, because he might as well be a sewing machine or an automobile.
This sounds racist.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
Loving TikTok is worthless, but the Tin Woodman is
like your
excellent.
guys' skin is made out of the same thing.
Exactly.
No matter
You're
what size, no matter what shape, no
We're
matter
all
what's
the same inside.
Honestly, L. Frank Baum gets like a little poetic here in like a really weird way, and he says, "Perhaps it's better to be a machine that does its duty than a flesh and blood person who will not. For a dead truth is better than a live falsehood."
Yeah.
Jesus.
I looked it up
Christ.
to see if that was a
Marksman
reference.
just got red for life.
It's like it's really like beautiful, but also like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know
That's
why
what
he put
TikTok
that there.
said.
That's
just
what L. Frank Baum said. That was
Oh.
just like that was just descriptive text.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
So he's just like making a statement.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was on the trolley and he had that idea and he was like, I'm gonna put that in the next book.
It's gonna be in the next book.
But they begin their walk to the Emerald City, and around noon they get to this large field of pumpkins.
Yellow pumpkins, actually. Which
Interesting.
I feel like pumpkins
Okay.
are a yellow orange, so I don't know if he's just exaggerating.
I haven't seen very many yellow pumpkins in my life.
Well,
I've seen
maybe they're
white and
not
I've seen orange.
ripe.
That's true.
It's
That's a good
August.
point. Okay, but like L. Frank Baum does go out of his way to be like, the pumpkins are appropriate for the land of the Winkies because of how yellow they are. And it's like, okay, you're trying to justify putting
Just
pumpkins.
say
here.
lemons or
You know
something.
they're orange, yeah.
Like use something that's
That's
There's a
actually
very
yellow.
there's a
Actually
very
yellow.
important reason why we're using the orange pumpkin.
Well, the first thing we see is 3 little mounds that look like graves. And they're like on the outside of the field. There's also a headstone on each one, which is really giving the grave
Yeah.
vibe.
So Dorothy sees the graves and she's like, "What the hell is this?" And the Tin Woodman tells her, "Well, this is Jack Pumpkinhead's private graveyard." Bum bum bum.
Private graveyard. Ever heard of it?
I don't want him back.
Dorothy says something a little insane in response.
She says that she thought that no one ever died in the land of Oz. And I don't know who told her that.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
who
was
told her
like,
that 'cause
why does she think that?
I was never
Yeah.
told that.
If that was
Is that
true-
why she's been
Wait,
so
wait.
chill this whole time?
Well, she's
She
scared
acts
of
like
death,
she
yeah.
doesn't care about death.
You're so right.
in the first book, just off screen, a munchkin told her, hey, no one ever dies here. And that's why she's been so chill this whole time.
You know what that munchkin must have told her? Because Nick Chopper was a munchkin once upon a time. And what he tells her is what he must have learned from the munchkins, which is nobody dies in Oz. But if one is bad, then he may be condemned and killed by the good citizens.
What?
What?
Martial law?
They all just
civil
rally around
uprising?
them? Do they stone them?
I was gonna
what?
say-
This seems very like medieval kind of.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's insane.
Okay.
And it
There's
makes you
like
wonder-
becoming a whole new lore now.
Yeah, are there public execution grounds in every city?
Yeah.
Like, because that's the only way you can die.
Because they've been
is
hiding
they have to
those.
kill you.
The
So-
fact
yeah.
we haven't seen anyone
Right.
get executed yet, but maybe people know.
They're all buried. They built the Emerald City on top of it. But here's the thing. Like that just like got that big reaction from us. Dorothy doesn't give a fuck. She's just like, what do these gravestones say? And she just goes and reads the gravestones.
Yeah.
Doesn't respond to that horrible thing.
No
like,
reaction.
girl.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, look, gravestones," and she goes and reads them. They say something interesting, each of them. Some things that are going to lead into a timeline discussion that I am not looking forward to having with everybody because of the complexity. So, she runs up, and each of them say pretty much the same thing. The first one says, "Here lies the mortal part of Jack Pumpkinhead, spoiled April 9th. So we have a date,
April 9th.
April 9th.
Is when he died.
Well, that's the first one.
That's the first one. So Dorothy goes to the next gravestone, and it says, "Here lies the mortal part of Jack Pumpkinhead, which spoiled October 2nd."
So that's like, what, 6 months later?
Okay.
The third one says, "Here lies the mortal part of Jack Pumpkinhead, spoiled on January 24th. So that's like 3 months later. So they're pretty equidistant. And that's all they say. And Dorothy is like, oh, poor Jack. He had to die 3 times. And she's pretty sad about it. Like, apparently, even though she met him once and he was fine. And even that didn't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, the Tin Woodman just told you the only way anyone dies in Oz is by being condemned to death for terrible crimes. And you're saying poor Jack? So sorry he had to die? If you die in Oz, you're a child murderer.
You've been condemned.
But what if your head is something that can get rotten and spoiled?
Well, what if indeed?
What if
I have some questions.
I remember last time you had questions.
Because the Tin Woodman, in response to Dorothy being like, poor Jack, Tin Woodman's like, oh, you'll meet Jack again. He's still alive. He's a farmer now. His house is right here on this very pumpkin field.
This is his farm.
This is Jack Pumpkinhead's farm. Jack Pumpkin
So
Farmerhead farm.
everyone's fine with him now if he hasn't died from being condemned?
Yeah, because,
Well.
like, we'll learn a little bit about it. We'll learn about it. He has
Okay,
not been
ew.
murdered by a screaming mob. though.
Okay.
So,
So Tin Man's a liar.
the Tin Woodman kind of gave some incorrect information. So they go to this big hollow pumpkin in the distance, which has a door and windows cut into the rind.
Jack Pumpkinhead's house. You guessed it. Giant pumpkin.
Yeah,
Like,
they peek.
insane.
They peek inside, and
That
Jack
kind of seems
Pumpkinhead.
like cannibalism. Like
Right?
Well,
it's been
like you're gonna
scraped and
put-
hollowed out.
you're gonna put your head. I feel a
He's
little weird.
he's
about it.
only alive though because of the powder of life. None of these pumpkins, like,
That's
can
true.
be even
They're not like
closer.
actual
He's a
people.
pumpkin.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's a chimney through the stem of the pumpkin. There's steps up to the front door. They go to the door. They look inside, and Jack Pumpkinhead is just sitting inside in his blue trousers and spotted vest, just snapping pumpkin seeds at a target across the room.
Yeah. He's just sitting there, just doing absolutely fucking nothing. Just
Sounds
living
about
his
He's
life.
having the time of his life.
I guess so. He's snapping those seeds against the wall,
He
so
owns
that's
a
good.
house. He has property.
Yeah, it's the shape of his head. That must have been
He
expensive.
has his dead bodies in the backyard.
Yeah, he has his little private graveyard. But Dorothy exclaims, and she's like, "Oh, why, it's Jack Pumpkinhead." And I'm like, Dorothy, you
Don't-
fucking knew what was going to be around the corner.
you were
Don't
told.
act surprised.
You were
Don't do that.
So when she says this, I just want to think about who's standing there with them, right? Like, it's Polychrome, the Shaggy Man, and then there's little 3-foot tall Button Bright just standing in the doorway.
Yeah, they got a really
Yes,
Very
it's a diverse
diverse
group. And I don't think anyone's paying attention.
That was the
Diverse
first time me and you
That was
have
James.
matched.
James
diverse
101.
group.
We were giving TikTok.
So imagine your little baby Button Bright. You're 3 feet tall. Dorothy says these words, and Jack Pumpkinhead, who is a 6 foot tall pumpkin monster, stands up from his bed where he's been sitting,
Oh, no.
turns around.
Button Bright.
His smiling face is 4 feet above you, and he takes 3 giant strides across the pumpkin house. Yeah. Dorothy. Yeah. And all the while, he's like, Dorothy.
That would literally be me.
Yeah. And
Oh
Button
my
Bright
God.
doesn't like it. He hates it.
Oh, yeah, no, he
Someone protect him.
cannot.
Wre's Toto? Is he still saying bow wow?
Yeah, he's a bow
But
wow.
now
Bow
it means
wow,
hi.
yippee-dog,
'cause-
yippee
Oh, no, he
yay.
hasn't met
Where
him
my
before.
dog's at. Come play. So Button Bright, does not like it. But in the end, honestly, he takes to Jack pretty quickly because he likes Jack's stupid-looking face, basically.
Yeah, he has that carved face. And Button Bright's like, you must be nice. Crazy.
And this has happened like in every
Like,
chapter.
how alive is he right now? Is he like?
No, he's fine. Like
he's
so,
brand new.
he's fine.
Yeah, his
he
pumpkin looks
great.
totally
He looks
normal.
great.
Okay.
And you know what? We'll get to
Um,
that in a second.
So Dorothy is like, "Oh my God, Jack Pumpkinhead, you're alive! I thought you were buried in 3 parts, but now I see you're just the same."
Not the same. He has a new head.
Yeah, he says, "This is my 4th head since Ozma sprinkled me with the powder of life."
Now wait a second. Since the moment that Ozma as Tip brought him to life, he has only had 4 heads. 3 of them are in the back 40 buried. So that means his current head is his 4th head, and all the other ones happened between like April, October, and January, which is less than a year. So
And
that
now
means,
we're in August 21st.
and then now we're in
for Ozma's
August.
birthday?
Yeah.
And
So
it's,
it's been a year and 4 months ish.
and the last head that was buried was in January.
Yeah, yeah. And the first one that was buried was in April. So I guess that head could have lasted for 4 months, let's say. I guess it was pumpkin season when
Okay.
Maybe it
Pick-
has to do
Tip
with
picked
like
it.
maybe it has to do with like the weather outside, or like maybe he like
I mean, he also went
like-
swimming in the first book, or in his first book.
yeah, exactly. He was like full of water and shit.
Yeah.
But like the bugs, like he lives in a pumpkin patch. Like
Yeah.
maybe some like things happen and he rots quicker or
Yeah.
slower.
Either way, though, I would say at the most, he has had that head for 2 years, probably. I guess because if it's August now, if he had had that head, his first head from August till April, and then April till October, and then October until January, and then now his new one till August again. That's 2 years. That's
Yeah.
2 years that Ozma has since Ozma created Jack Pumpkinhead. So that gives us a
honestly-
context.
They need to make him like a paper mache head that they can just repaint, because
Yeah.
Dorothy does ask Jack like, "Well, what about your other heads? What happened?" And Jack's like, "Well, when my heads spoil, I bury them, and then Ozma carves me a new one." But Jack had to wear his first head longer than he should have. Like his first head started getting all wrinkled and hollow and nasty.
But it wasn't pumpkin season,
Yeah,
so
it
he
wasn't
had to
pumpkin
just
season.
keep it on,
Yeah.
which is
So
disgusting.
That's why he's
Oh.
devoted his life to becoming a pumpkin farmer. So really, he could change his head every frickin' day if he wanted to.
Yeah,
But,
that'd be
like,
interesting.
But he changes his
Interesting.
head as soon as they start to turn, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's a
the
luxury.
timeline really doesn't make any sense. But some of the pumpkins, they grow
Yeah, it
way.
seems like there would be more heads.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he could change it every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll put a new one on before Ozma's birthday. You
'Cause
know?
there would either be more heads or they would be more evenly spaced out between.
Oh yeah.
Like it just like it. None of it makes
It
sense.
doesn't make sense.
But some of the pumpkins grow way too big to ever be heads, which is like why he lives in a giant hollowed out pumpkin like Peter Pumpkin Eater. But Dorothy asks, like, "Well, you live in a pumpkin. Like, isn't that damp inside? Like, it sounds gross, honestly." But he hollows it so well that it's just the shell, and this current one he's using will be fit to last a good while longer. So who knows how many houses he's even had? That would be
Well, that's a
fun to
good-
compare to his
That's
head.
a good question
I
too.
wonder, does he? Because I personally don't like moving. So doesn't mean every time that your pumpkin rots, you have to like get rid of that one somehow and then get a new one and hollow
Yeah.
that one out. It just seems like a lot of
He
work.
probably just like has the Tin Woodman come cut his current house down into pieces, throw it out into the woods, the animals eat it, and then they just hollow out Ozma. Oh, well, Ozma makes his face,
Okay,
I guess.
that sounds very green. I like that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
like
they're
it.
composting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're making it into mulch. But the other thing is he doesn't sleep, eat, or do anything. So all he does is flick pumpkin seed and make house.
Yeah, he's
So-
not even
Yeah,
he's not
that's-
even breathing in there. It's just
Yeah.
the elements working their
only,
way on this thing.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty easy
Um,
life. Fucking bitch.
But yeah, Dorothy is like super impressed, and she's like, "Wow, like you're really doing it." And the Tin Woodman, just totally unprompted, tells Jack that he thinks he's much brighter than he used to be, and that Jack's old head was a stupid one.
Which,
the-
of course, the seeds in this one are better, as Jack
Yep.
puts it.
Okay.
But Dorothy asks if Jack is going to the party, Ozma's party, and Jack is like, yeah, I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Ozma's my dad.
No, he says Ozma is my parent and she made me and I love her. So he's fully accepted Ozma mom.
Way to go.
But he's like,
way to make me super nasty.
I mean, you did call Ozma he.
Hi, welcome to Oz Hour, where I promise I'm woke.
But Jack is like, yeah, well, I'm actually going tomorrow because I need to water the pumpkins and do some stuff around the farm. But tell her I said hi, and they say they will. And that's the end of chapter 16, visiting the pumpkin field. And Blake, what would you call that field?
Visiting the country pumpkin.
Chapter 17, the royal chariot arrives.
So as they go along, they see the yellow houses of the Winkies, and they're all kind of farmhouses. They're all spread apart because in Oz, apparently, the only place that's actually a town is the Emerald City.
Yeah.
So
no,
this is the first time we've ever learned this before. So there's never just clusters of houses or suburbs together, or neighborhoods. They're all spread out. Everything's the middle of nowhere except for the Emerald City. When has that been the case?
It's very medieval to me, where like outside of the castle, there's just farmland.
Well,
That's where like the peasants
the
live.
Dainty China people.
That's true.
So it's like a neighborhood within.
Well, I mean, it's kind of small.
It is small.
Okay, so
But
I mean,
that
even
wall is huge. They had to
the
climb
wall
over
was
that
huge.
shit.
So how big are those things?
even in Munchkin Land too, like there's a mayor, but there's the richest
is
Munchkin
it just
in the
all
land.
spread out? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
And even
I'm having a hard time with it.
there's a lot of issues. It's fine. But there are no other big cities. So as they're walking, there's like yellow roses lining the highway. They're just like going down a road. Like all the farmhouses are really well kept. It's really beautiful. Basically, the whole point, it's beautiful. Like great place to walk. So great.
So as they're walking, the Shaggy Man gets bored, curious, and he's asking the Tin Woodman, like, what kind of powder is it that brought Jack Pumpkinhead to life?
Well, the powder of life, says the Tin Woodman.
duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much explains like the entire beginning of the Marvelous Land of Oz book.
Yeah.
Mombi got the powder from a shady sorcerer. Tip made Jack Pumpkinhead to scare Mombi. Mombi wasn't scared. She sprinkled the powder of life on Jack. Tip stole Jack and the powder in the dead of night.
I will say all of it is without like retelling of history. Like it's not like everything that is said is like, oh, that is actually what we know to have happened.
Once L. Frank Baum
first-
remembered the past.
Exactly. The first time.
He even says like the Tin Woodman even says like back when Ozma was a boy named Tip.
Yeah,
Like-
and
Oh, wow.
he was kept as a slave by the witch Mombi. Like it's really
Everything
is
is
shot for
correct.
shot. And he explains how the sawhorse was brought to life, and then he explains how the Gump was brought to life, but he was taken apart right afterwards, so he doesn't exist anymore.
Which
is
isn't true.
Kind of glossing over history.
I mean, the
with
Gump,
what we know.
the Gump is still alive. It's just a head
Yeah.
now. It's not a full body, right? Like it's still in the Palace of Oz or of the Emerald City.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm proud of L. Frank Baum for doing something right. For
he
once.
might have
Yeah.
read one of his books more than just the one time he wrote it.
Maybe that book was his favorite.
But the Shaggy Man, he's like, wow, it's really too bad you ran out of the powder. That seems like it would be really useful. Powder of life. Wow.
Well, you shouldn't be so sure of that, says the Tin Woodman.
Yeah.
Basically.
Here's why.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
So the crooked sorcerer who Mombi got the powder of life from, he's the inventor of the powder of life. And one day he fell off a cliff and was killed.
Wait, killed? Like he died in the land of Oz?
Like he died
So-
in the land of Oz.
Everyone thought he was bad and they put him to death.
No.
Oh.
He just
Oh.
died by gravity, actually. Like, any
Oh.
person could
So
do.
he remembers something from 3 books ago, but he can't remember something from 3 pages ago.
And neither
That's insane.
neither can the Tin Woodman. And so the Tin Woodman is like, yeah, like, but when he died, like, all of his possessions, like, his closest relative was this woman named Dinah.
Why didn't they just say he moved away?
Well, okay, no, it's gonna. Something's gonna happen.
Okay.
So Dinah lives in the Emerald City, and after the death of the crooked sorcerer, Dinah goes up to the mountains where he lived, and she brought away everything from his home that she thought would be valuable.
Now, it just so happened that she had a pet bear with blue fur, which, by the way, is the inspiration for our cocktail, the Blue Bear E. What the fuck did I say? Magic or whatever I said it was. But that bear choked to death on a fishbone.
Yeah.
So
This bear was...
animals can die too.
Yes,
So
animals
good.
can die
Yeah.
by choking to death on a fishbone. So again, not an angry mob of your peers.
And I'm just curious, has that happened in real life? A bear choking on fishbone? Do you think?
No, fish bones
don't
are so
know.
small. Bears' throats are so huge.
Well, they just chuck
They-
the whole thing in their
they
mouth
don't-
every time.
They're
That's how
not
they're
taking
supposed
to do
bites
it.
of fish.
If they
Yeah.
were dying from fish bones, they wouldn't be eating fish.
They wouldn't be as big as they are.
They'd stick to berries and roots.
But yeah, Dinah does the sensible thing. Her bear dies by choking on a fishbone, so she takes her bear to a taxidermist, has the taxidermist butterfly shrimp her bear wide open, take all of its guts out, make the bottom of it leather, lay it on her floor for something she can look at and step on.
It's a bearskin rug. She
Yeah.
makes it into a blue
You know.
bearskin
Pet
rug.
People do that with the bears they
Yeah.
hunt.
What you do with your
not
pet,
usually
you know?
their pets.
Yeah.
When the cat Gizmo dies, I'm gonna make him into a bath mat.
Honestly, Gizmo
Ew.
would be kind of cute as a rug, but I could not look at
Oh
that.
god.
No, I want the other cat Poppy as a washcloth, and I want the dog Skip as a beach towel.
As a wash.
That's a beach towel.
So Dinah thinks that this magic powder is a moth killer. So she takes it from the sorcerer's home and brings it to her house.
And she wants to keep moths out of her bearskin rug.
She loves this bear.
Oh,
That's why
yeah.
she made it a rug.
So she just sprinkles what she thinks is a moth powder all over the rug.
The rug that's made of the bear that she loves so much, she made into a rug.
Oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm
You
so
should be.
scared.
It's horror.
She is, in this moment, she's looking lovingly at the skin, and she says out loud, I wish that this dear bear were alive again. And to her horror,
To her
horror, the bear rug comes alive
No.
and mauls her.
no.
No, it does come alive.
God damn it, you guys got me.
You said you would never believe that
You
again.
said never.
I know that a lot of people have been dying in this book. It confused me.
No. But it does come to life, and it does give her a lot of trouble. The Shaggy Man is like, it gives her trouble.
Is he in pain?
So the Tin Woodman tells us,
This is bear body
here's
horror.
the thing.
Yeah.
It's bear rug body horror. Because this rug that doesn't have like a center or like, it now walks on 4 feet and it gets in the way.
It's like a piece
it
of
like
paper.
gets
Yes.
under her feet.
It's like
It
one of the cards from
flat
Alice in
Stanley.
Wonderland.
Yes, that's exactly what I was picturing. Ew.
But it gets under her feet.
It scuttles
like, wants
around,
her
it slips.
attention.
Scuttles.
Yeah.
It follows her everywhere.
And it can't speak.
So apparently it could before?
So, okay, well, I don't know about that. But it can't speak because while it has a mouth and a head, there's no body with lungs to push the words out.
Yeah.
I have a few words
Oh,
to
so
say.
all of a
So
sudden
it's-
we care about
so
It's just
yes,
a
and how they
worthless,
work.
miserable creature.
Can I say the Gump?
The
Or
Tin Woodman?
Tin Woodman.
Jack, Tin Woodman, the
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow, TikTok,
yeah, literally.
Sawhorse, the China
Every
Dolls,
single thing
the
that has
Mangaboos.
ever been alive in this book doesn't have organs.
No.
Yeah, it
there-
doesn't make sense.
The man telling this story doesn't have organs.
He's hollow. He has a sawdust heart bumping around inside.
Yeah.
So why is he acting like he knows how lungs work?
I
Where
don't
your
know.
lungs show him to
Well,
me.
he had lungs.
Okay,
Don't-
but they don't have them now.
that's lung erasure, Hannah.
Well, the bear had lungs before too.
Yes, and
True.
did the bear use those lungs to speak? Because they're like, oh,
I
poor
wonder.
bear, can't even talk, doesn't have lungs. Which, like, yeah, the guy saying it doesn't have lungs either, but when that bear did have lungs, it was talking.
I will say the Gump is the head of a Gump, and it can talk after it's brought to life with the magic powder, and it has its memories from being alive.
The bears in the center of the earth don't talk.
No.
So
All they do is kill.
yeah, all they gotta do is kill.
But they
kill,
can't
no
even
matter
go.
what. Not even that.
That was
But-
more of a cougar. I'm sorry.
So
we got it.
I don't know bear sound.
The Tin Woodman says for that reason, the fact that, you know, the bear comes to life and it gets in her way and it follows her around. The Tin Woodman says for that reason, and that reason alone, not any of the things like that he said before about how the powder of life really came in clutch and helped us when we were trying to save Oz from a civil war. He forget all of that.
Yeah.
He says for that reason, this bear rug following a woman to the supermarket, that is why the powder of life is as good as gone. And you know what? No one misses it. Because this woman has a rug that she should never have made.
Yeah.
And follows her around.
It's honestly her own fault.
It's
It
her
is her
own
own
fault.
How dare
this
you?
The powder of
What's
life.
moth powder?
The powder of life flew
First
them.
question.
The powder of life flew them out of an ambush and took them to the real world.
But now there's a bear that walks around on four paws, and it annoys the woman.
That's
And
worse.
A nuisance.
I can't. I'm
A
so
nuisance.
mad about this. I just kicked my mic. I'm so mad about this.
But around noon, they stopped at a farmhouse, and there was a couple there who was happy to give them a luncheon.
I don't know why any of this is happening.
No, yeah, because it says
This whole
that.
chapter is really like, if I had a thing to check my heart rate, I would be checking it right now. Like, it's not safe.
You need an Apple Watch. But literally, all it happens is they go to the farmhouse, have a luncheon, they recognize Dorothy, and they like her, and then they leave the house.
Yeah, they go
That's
on.
it.
They go on their way. They start walking again.
Is it Pumpkin? Is he's going with them?
No,
No,
no.
he's
Jack
going the
Pumpkinhead.
next
He's
day.
coming tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's got stuff to do.
So not long after
Oh,
leaving,
now he's
they're-
busy.
not long after leaving the luncheon that we learn nothing about, they come to a bridge over a really broad river. The Tin Woodman lets them know that this river is what separates the land of the Winkies from the Emerald City.
So on the other
they're
side,
close.
yeah, they're fairly close. They're beginning to enter the broad, diamond, I guess, of the Emerald City's lands, because there's meadows, there's hills, it's all a beautiful green, and the bridge is kind of like high because it's such a wide river, and from the top of the bridge, like far away in the distance, they can see the spires and the domes of the Emerald City. So like they can see it, and everyone is just blown away. Everyone who's never seen it before is astounded.
Oh, little
by-
button bright. He's excited.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
actually, in particular, the Shaggy Man gets quite emotional. He literally gasps.
He's only seen sand.
He's never seen
feel like
such
he's
a
only
beautiful
seen
place in
sand.
his life.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a homeless person in the Kansas of the early 1900s.
yeah, and this is
Life is
post-Great
not so
Depression.
glamorous.
No, pre-Great Depression.
This is about 20, 30 years pre-depression?
Like 15.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Annie takes place during the Depression. That's my cultural touch point.
Well, when we see it at the Keller, we'll know. Polly's eyes are sparkling like amethysts as she sees the city, and she just dances ahead. And she's like stopping to admire some trees because they have like leaves that look like ostrich feathers, and they're shimmering like rainbows. She remarks that her father would love these and that they're almost as beautiful as his rainbows. And then she screams.
Because at this moment, two huge beasts come out from under the trees.
Oh no.
Either one of these could have eaten her in one bite as a morsel.
Polly is too scared to scream. She just freezes there, staring at these beasts coming straight for her.
And Dorothy runs up and past her, and she hugs and kisses the lion all over and exclaims how happy she is to see him and the
God
hungry
damn
tiger.
it.
Yeah.
So
So it's
I was
just
thinking, I
obvious-
was like, was it the fucking Cordelias?
the
Oh,
Kalidas.
the Kalidas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still alive
Good question.
somewhere.
Yeah, there's other ones.
But no, Dorothy is so happy to see who is obviously our friends, the Hungry Tiger and the Cowardly Lion. The Cowardly Lion tells Dorothy, like, hey, like, so good to see you. We're doing really good. We're so happy that Ozma's birthday party is happening. Which is a weird thing to say because Dorothy wasn't actually invited to Ozma's birthday party. Even though she can go there every single day if she wants to.
The girls are fighting.
Yeah.
The Hungry Tiger, for some reason, weighs in.
Same old bullshit.
And he says, there's going to be lots of fat babies at the party, but I'm not going to eat any of them. And Dorothy's like,
gulp.
Yeah, is your conscience in order? And he's like, oh, yeah, like, it rules me like a tyrant. Like, wish I didn't have it. And Dorothy's like, shut the fuck up. You wouldn't eat a baby. Like, you're just joking. Like, I know you.
We need to keep Button Bright away from him.
Here's the thing, Dorothy. Like, yes, he would. The whole point of his character is that he has a conscience, therefore he doesn't eat the babies.
Yeah.
She's like, well, even if you didn't have a conscience, I'm sure you wouldn't. If he didn't have a conscience, he would be out there eating babies right now. 100%. That's kind of the whole...
He says he would.
That's the whole point of the character.
It's giving Alex... Or did I say this already? It's giving Alex from Madagascar.
You might have said that, but that's a sore spot because we were supposed to see Madagascar the musical and the tickets got canceled.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I forgive you. Just
Marty
don't let
the
it happen
Zebra's
again.
a racist.
Yeah, he's still in the Capitol on January 6, 2021.
So no one... well, actually, no one's able to see Madagascar.
No one will see it. It's canceled all over
everywhere.
The place. Anyway.
Fun.
So, Dorothy calls Polly over, and Polly is like, you have some queer friends, Dorothy. And Dorothy says, doesn't matter if they're queer, long as they're friends.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, I
lied. That's honestly so cute, because honestly, all my friends are weird as fuck. I get nervous in introducing new people to other people.
But she introduces the Cowardly Lion, and she's like, he isn't really a coward, but he thinks he is. But like, he got courage from the wizard, and the lion's like, the lion is doing something interesting. He's doing this whole like, I'm like Aslan from the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah,
he's being like wise and
now,
proper. Yeah, he like bows to Polly, and he's like, pleasure to meet you. I hope that one day we can be friends when we're better acquainted.
He's not like, oh, Gorsh, I'm so scared.
Yeah, no Gorsh in here. And then the Hungry Tiger, who's really not hungry because he has plenty to eat. But Dorothy's like, but if he was hungry, he wouldn't eat a baby anyway. And I'm like, so he's just a tiger then.
She's like, he's not hungry at all. He has so much to eat. Every time I see him, he's eating.
But then the tiger's like, oh, hush, Dorothy. Like, you'll ruin my reputation.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, like, what you are, only what people think that counts in this world. And I think Polly looks like breakfast. And then
honestly,
he bites her. No, he doesn't. He doesn't bite her. But
you fucking said you would never fall for another one twice.
I'm on my
in 10 minutes.
I'm at the edge of my seat right now. I'm fucking stressed.
L. Frank Baum is like going through a depression on this one, though.
Yeah, it's getting interesting. But that is the end of chapter 17. The royal chariot arrives. And Blake, what would you call that?
I would call that, what chariot?
All right, let's
see. Yeah, what chariot?
Chapter 18, The Emerald City. Have we had a chapter called The Emerald City before?
Maybe.
I feel like we must have.
I feel like we almost certainly would have had to have.
Yeah, I mean, they come to the Emerald City in every
pretty
book.
much every book.
That's true.
But
so,
either way.
The Tin Woodman comes up. He greets his friends, the big wildcats. Dorothy takes Button Bright's hand, and she leads him to meet the lion and tiger. Button Bright is like, no. Like, he's not into it.
He's seen a lot today already.
Okay, and that honestly brings me to a point, though, because after a minute of petting the big cats and talking with them, Button Bright can't get enough. He's obsessed with them. He wants to stay close to them. He loves them.
And
they're super nice.
Fur every minute.
But literally every single chapter we've done this. It's the same in this book, where Button Bright is scared, Button Bright's obsessed, Button Bright don't know, Toto bow wow. But like it's literally just like with TikTok, it happened too, where Button Bright was like, "That's scary," and then he's like, "Can I wind him up? Can I wind him up?" Like he's just L. Frank Baum is writing the same chapter over and over again.
Or
and
that. Oh, that's true. Honestly,
I'm here for it though. The Shaggy Man, not scared of the Wildcats at all. He's just like, yeah, like, I think I'm getting the hang of how this goes around here.
Yeah, he's like, Dorothy's friends are all strange, but if she's cool, like, I'm cool. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but also, like, it's not like Dorothy's a fucking genius. No. Like, he shouldn't trust her about
She's
everything.
A little girl.
These are tigers and lions, and they're huge. But either way, he wasn't afraid.
Toto, however, is super excited to see the Cowardly Lion. He's jumping up, yipping.
So Toto hasn't ever met the Hungry Tiger before, right? And so what you think is like, oh, usually when Toto meets a new animal, or even when someone's head gets turned into an animal head, he barks and he's really scary. Or, well, he's really scared. But for the Hungry Tiger, they just shake hands.
They shake hands.
How?
By grabbing one another's hands and shaking.
The paws are very different sizes.
It's more like giving some skin. They kind of just do like a little like.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's great.
They see each other.
So, everyone's kind of greeting them. TikTok and Belina, they see the lion and tiger every day. So, I mean, they're all people, of course. They're just like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, how you doing? What are you doing here? We were the greeting party. But the gang notices that the lion and tiger are hitched to a golden chariot.
The one titled in the last episode or the last chapter, the royal chariot.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dorothy is like, oh my god, it's Ozma's royal chariot.
Yeah, it's gold and green. It's the royal chariot of Ozma.
Yeah.
The one we were talking about earlier but never brought up.
Yeah. And the Cowardly Lion is like, yeah, Ozma sent us to pick you guys up. Like, she figured you guys would be fucking tired.
Okay,
and also,
keep in mind that the Emerald City is in full view at this point.
Yeah.
They've already walked all the way there before Ozma ever checked on them or sent anyone to help them.
Well,
I'd be like, no thanks, I'll walk.
But also, Ozma doesn't want them to enter the Emerald City in like just their walking clothes. Basically, she's like, I want you guys to ride in on a chariot of a lion and a tiger because
so she has a vision.
You're exalted, like you need to come.
She's like, it's my birthday.
Like
Dorothy rides
for entering
it's
inside
my birthday,
house.
and if you're coming and you're coming in on a lion on a tiger, I'll take it.
That's right.
But yeah, so they come along.
Polly is like,
yeah.
Polly is like, whoa, like, are you royalty, Dorothy? Because, like, Ozma has, like, sent this chariot. And Dorothy's like, well, only in Oz. Like, I'm a princess here, but, like, back home, I just have to churn butter and wipe all the dishes when Aunt Em needs them to be washed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, Polly, have you ever wiped the dishes before?
Polly is like, no, dear, smiley face.
Yeah. She's like, no, I don't know what dishes are. I eat dew and mist.
Dorothy's like, yeah, well, that's what it's like for me when I'm in Oz. I like to play princess every once in a while. So all the kids, Button Bright, Polly, and Dorothy, pile into the back of the chariot, and everyone else follows behind because I guess Ozma sent the chariot because they might be tired, but the Shaggy Man probably wasn't tired, apparently.
Yeah, right? Isn't that interesting?
So Button Bright loves riding in a golden chariot pulled by these
with
big
the animals.
Cats. He tells Dorothy that he feels like an actor in a circus, which is adorable.
He's going off.
He's doing The Greatest Showman starring Hugh Jackman. He's Daddy lay on a wall, no life.
And that actually really sounded like Hugh
That's
Jackman
what
at
Hugh
the
Jackman
end.
sounds like. He sounds the same way in Les Mis. He's like,
don't
let me by God on high, let me by thou Javert.
He doesn't say let me buy.
I don't know the lyrics to that movie.
That's all evident.
The first one was better.
With a cutaway on alone the mind. So
yeah.
As they near the Emerald City, they pass various people who all bow respectfully to the gang. And Belina, actually, she's not walking. She's not being carried by TikTok. She's actually on the back of the chariot, just going on and on and on, telling Dorothy all about her babies that she's had, who are all named Dorothy. Remember them?
All of her little chicks.
She can't shut up about it.
How old are they now?
They're chicks. They're still little babes.
They're still small enough that she calls Dorothy, and they all come running. So they're not very old. They're
little-
not Belina
little
size.
pom poms. Little
Do
pom-poms.
they? We're on book 5. Did that happen book 3?
I don't know when she laid the eggs that she kept
Well,
alive, but it seems recent.
Yeah,
like
and
when
because she saw
when she
Belina
sees-
last book.
Yeah, when
you know?
when Belina saw
last
Dorothy
book.
this book, she was like, "Dorothy, I have great news. I have something super exciting to tell you." So the babies are new. They're new.
Okay.
They're young.
Okay.
But she's gabbing all about her babies, and then finally the chariot comes to the gates of the Emerald City.
And there's a man in green spectacles
Hmm.
with a key ring around his neck who lets them in. And Dorothy's like, "Oh, the guardian of the gate." And I'm like, "Okay, why is he wearing green spectacles?" Like,
Yeah, he doesn't wear the
like,
spectacles.
I thought he had
we know
whiskers.
why. Well, and that's the soldier
Also,
slash general.
with the big
Oh,
long
oh.
whiskers, like, why are you telling me that he's wearing spectacles and you're not telling me that he's tripping over his whiskers? Because that's the same guy.
So they pass inside the Emerald City, and Polychrome exclaims in amazement because it's the most beautiful thing that could ever be possibly imagined, which is saying something considering she's the Rainbow's daughter and has presumably seen plenty of amazing, insane things in her life.
I would imagine being up in the
Yeah.
sky.
She's seen everything ever made.
Both
Basically.
both she and Button Bright are totally overwhelmed. Button Bright can only keep saying, "My," and he looks all around like his head is darting from place to place because he doesn't want to miss a single thing.
Oh, he doesn't have a fox head anymore.
No, he's
No.
just a little boy going,
He's just a little boy.
"My."
Going Disneyland for the first time.
Yes.
The Shaggy Man also has a human head again, and he is like, whoa. Because, like, all the buildings are gold plated. Like, there's emeralds there are emeralds everywhere to the point where he's like, oh my God, like, there's riches beyond imagination, and it's all just sitting here. Like, there's granite sidewalks, gem encrusted curbs. Like, everyone's wearing satin or silk or velvet. It's like, it's the most amazing thing he could ever imagine. And
Yeah.
everyone seems happy, too.
Yeah, he can't like understand it because out in like the cruel, harsh world, the real world, everyone would see these things and be like, "These are super valuable. I'm going to be super greedy and try to keep this house or these beautiful clothes or whatever." And the Shaggy Man like asks the Tin Woodman, he's like, "Don't they work?" And the Tin Woodman is like, "No, I mean like if they didn't work, they do work. If they didn't work, like how would we have buildings and clean clothes and food to eat? And how would things be clean?" Everyone just like has equal time for work and play. The Shaggy Man's super satisfied by this, and he's like, "Jesus Christ, like Ozma better let me stay here." Like, this
He's
is my
trying to
dream
stay
place.
too.
He doesn't even want the 15 cents from the guy in Butterfield, you know?
Yeah.
Like he
is a
wants
better
this
future.
utopia of like no money, no death, no vanity. Like he's
Yeah.
so into it.
It makes me wonder, though. He's getting all this from the Tin Woodman, and I'm like, the Tin Woodman is a fairy prince who doesn't eat, sleep, or do anything except for just get polished. So, like,
He still knows.
he does know, but I'm like, is this the guy who can tell you how happy everyone is? Because I feel like
And honestly,
some people are out of touch.
the Tin Woodman's, just his truth, I'm having a hard time believing lately.
Yeah.
He's been a little
I get that.
wishy-washy.
I get that. So they come to the palace, and as they approach, the gates swing open, and the lion and the tiger carry them through the gates and up this jeweled driveway. And they finally come to a stop, like at the front steps of the palace, and Dorothy hops out, and she's like, "Honey, I'm home." She's like, "Stop."
Yeah. But
no.
all the servants are bowing, and at the head of all these servants who are bowing, greeting them, there is a young girl with dark hair, dark eyes, and she has a dress of silver and green.
Who's that?
Well,
You're
Dor-
asking me?
yeah.
I'm asking anyone who can answer.
Who is that?
Who's the servant? Who's the beautiful servant right at the front of all the servants? Who's our favorite servant?
Jamila Jam.
Not Jamila Jamil.
Jalea Jam.
Jalea Jam.
There we go.
Jamila
That's right.
Jamil Jam.
And Dorothy runs up, says, "Oh, Jalea Jam, I'm so glad to see you. Like, where's Ozma?"
Ozma's in her room, Julia Jam tells us, and she's like, okay, Dorothy, go clean up, rest up, freshen up, and then Ozma would love to like see you for dinner. You know, just like pretty much every time we've come to Oz. Like, go clean up in your beautiful apartments and then meet us for dinner.
Yeah. And Dorothy clarifies when Ozma's actual birthday is, and it's the day after tomorrow. So yet again, it seems like we just keep pushing it out. Like, I feel like we were told, oh, we'll be here, and then it's Ozma's birthday. And then we're like, oh, well, I'll be here tomorrow, and then it's Ozma's birthday. And now we're told even another day, and it's Ozma's birthday. It just feels like they're really pushing
to get there at the same time as Ozma's birthday, and then they stopped 2 more times. I don't get it. But yeah, Dorothy asks where the Scarecrow is. And she is told by Julia that the Scarecrow has gone to the Munchkin country to get some fresh straw to stuff himself in honor of Ozma's celebration. And he'll be back tomorrow.
Because, you know, he's been stuffed with money from the top of the real world. He's been stuffed with straw from probably all over the world and every place he's been. But for this, he better get Munchkin straw.
Also,
like,
can
what
we
the
not...
fuck?
Can we not ship Munchkin straw to one of the most powerful men in the is world the word I would use? In the country.
In Oz.
Country.
Yeah, in the country. I'll tell you, it took Dorothy, 3 days to walk from deep in Munchkin country to the Emerald City with dangers.
I know there's no money,
they could ship
but
it.
I think an invitation to Ozma's birthday party is enough for 2 people to carry a cart of straw.
Yeah.
To the Emerald
they
City.
all love Ozma so much, they would literally do it just to please her.
Absolutely. That's the way it works, apparently. So Julia invites them all inside to the palace to show them their rooms for the night. And the Shaggy Man, he kind of like hesitates before entering the palace. He doesn't really know like what to do with himself. And Dorothy thinks like, oh my God, like I've never known the Shaggy Man to be ashamed of his looks before, but now that he's surrounded by all this splendor, he seems insecure. It seems like he feels out of place.
A significant contrast.
Dorothy goes up to the Shaggy Man and is like, hey, you're welcome here. You belong here. We're going into the palace. It's so sweet.
That is very sweet. Give him a little makeover. Give him a little haircut.
Right.
Let's get him washed up.
This is about to be what
Let's
not to
see
wear.
His face. Oh my gosh.
So he dusts himself off, though. He takes a little rag or handkerchief out. He dusts off his shoes and like his jacket, and he enters the palace with them all. So the Tin Woodman and the TikTok, they already know where their rooms are. Like TikTok lives there. Tin Woodman is there fucking all the time. So they have like spaces to go. So they
Sleepover.
go, yeah, right. They're like, I live here sometimes or always. So
and
they go.
Dorothy does too. Like Dorothy has her own room. She knows exactly where it is, but like she's still led to her apartment because she's a guest.
And Button Bright goes with
Yeah,
her.
she takes Button Bright. He's too little to have his own room.
Yeah, because it's such a big place.
But Julia Jam like takes a look at Polychrome and she can tell that Polychrome is used to like lavish rooms because she's a princess, right?
You
So
know what we're doing
she's
here.
like, we're gonna go to one of the most splendid
Oh
apartments.
my God.
We're taking you somewhere
She's giving,
special.
She's giving 10 out of 10 service right now. Like,
Absolutely.
will come again.
Yes. And then there's nothing, because that is the end of Chapter 18, The Emerald City.
Okay.
And Blake,
Abrupt.
what would you call that?
Homecoming.
Chapter 19, The Shaggy Man's Welcome.
So the Shaggy Man has entered the palace. He's standing in the great hall with his shaggy hat in his hands, wondering what will become of him, which is so dramatic. But hey, whatever. The Shaggy Man is thinking how he's never been a guest in a fine palace or really, honestly, like anyone's home.
Yeah.
He's slept in haylofts and stables. Like, he's used to being kept outside, and everyone around him is dressed like they're in the Emerald City in the Palace of Ozma. They are fucking beautiful,
Lavish.
gorgeous.
He's actually afraid he's going to be cast out of the palace.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So he's thinking what the Tin Woodman said about how people die. he thinks that's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's like,
He thinks
this
they're
is
gonna
the
rip
only
him
way.
apart.
Well, good thing that the Tin Woodsman is a liar.
Well,
But-
one of the servants
Yeah.
does approach him, and he gives a deep bow as if to a prince. And he says, "Sir, may I now such lead you to the Shaggy Man apartments? May I, sir?"
Oh,
He just goes off with
the
all
Shaggy
the
Man,
things.
he's so embarrassed. But he's like, yeah, like I'll follow you to my apartment.
He thinks he's gonna get killed.
Yeah,
though.
he's
he,
like,
like,
"Yes,
doesn't
sir,
know.
for you, fine, please, thank you."
Aw.
The servant takes him up a long staircase and down a long corridor, and they stop at a door, and the servant opens it, and it leads into a beautiful apartment, and the servant tells the Shaggy Man to just make himself at home in Princess Ozma's palace.
Yeah. They dine at 7, and he'll be back to help him get to the dining room. And do you need anything else? And the Shaggy Man's like, "No, though I am much obliged, thank ye." And then he leaves him, and he's just standing there.
He goes into his apartments, and he just like doesn't move for several minutes, just taking it all in.
It's one of the most beautiful apartments in the most beautiful palace in the world, and so he needs a minute to just chill
Yeah.
and like
That's how I feel
marinate.
after like a 10-hour shift.
I
go
know, my
home.
cats are here.
Sit there, do nothing.
So the furniture in this room, it's gorgeous. There's thick rugs on the floor. There's beautiful tapestries hanging on the walls.
books, baubles. He's never seen so many things in one place.
There's
He's
like-
just like
yeah.
it's a rich
There's a
environment.
perfumed fountain in the one corner, and in another corner, there's a bunch of like fresh fruit, including the Shaggy Man's favorite, apples.
Slay.
So he goes across the room to another doorway, which leads into the bedroom. And in the bedroom, there's this big, fluffy, comfortable bed with like nice sheets, colorful comforters. At the end of that room is a changing room, which is full of an assortment of fresh clothing.
Beyond that is a bathtub, full to the brim. It's huge. Also, it like has
It's like
stairs
a
that go into it.
swimming pool size.
He could swim in it, but it's just full of clear, like perfectly clean water. It's all beautiful. And so he stands there in amazement for a while, and then he's like, "Bitch, when the fuck am I ever gonna be able to do this again?" And he's like, "I need to take advantage of this and like get going." So he takes his clothes off, he bathes, he swims a couple laps probably. He's like luxuriating though. He's like, "I'm gonna enjoy this for what it is," which is
Take it
the
all
most insane
in.
thing. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
after his bath, he goes to the closets to pick out some
Oh,
clothes.
I wonder how dirty that water was.
I bet.
I
Okay, that was
know.
what I was thinking. It's like it's a swimming pool size. Those servants must drain it and refill it.
Yeah, something.
So he looks in the closets. The clothing is all surprisingly shaggy, even though it's new and beautiful. So it still fits his style,
His aesthetic.
but it's gorgeous. you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's then literally in the moment, yeah, he's like, "Oh my god, I can be presentable and still be the Shaggy Man."
Yeah, he takes like a big sigh. He's got tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
I'm in love at this moment.
And
Aw,
so
his love magnet is really working on us right now.
oh yeah, honestly.
I feel it.
I'm in love.
So what he pulls out of the closet is this velvet suit, and it's rose colored, and it's trimmed with like little bobtails and like fringes basically. It has ruby buttons that have like shaggy golden edges around them. Some shaggy cream colored stockings, which I guess must just be textured, or maybe they have tassels at the end. And then some shaggy rose colored slippers with ruby buckles.
Yeah.
So he's decked out.
So he gets himself dressed. He admires himself in the mirror for a minute. He's like, whoa, I haven't looked like this in a while. Then he goes and finds this mother of pearl chest in the closet, and it's decorated with silver vines and the flowers are made of like rubies. This gorgeous chest. On the cover of the chest is a silver plate, and etched into it says, "The Shaggy Man, his box of ornaments."
Oh my god.
And inside there are many beautiful accessories.
They thought of everything.
They did. And he pulls out this golden like pocket watch with this long chain. It has a ruby pin that he like pins to his shirt. And it's perfect. It's beautiful.
Put some rings on his fingers.
Yeah. He brushes his hair and whiskers all the wrong way, and he is feeling fly as hell.
Oh,
he is
I
just
love
I'm
him.
ready to meet the princess.
Yeah.
And he's just like eating the apples, just like yeah, because he's ready for the princess.
He's still the Shaggy Man, but he had a moment.
Yeah, and I'm like, but also he is eating the apples, and I'm like, before dinner, like.
So
Yeah, don't get
meanwhile,
full.
while all of this is happening for the Shaggy Man, Dorothy gets herself dressed in a gown of soft gray embroidered with silver, and then on Button Bright, she puts him in this blue and gold satin suit.
I wish I got to dress up Button Bright.
He's like a doll. L. Frank Baum literally says that Button Bright looked as sweet as a cherub in this suit. And then Toto gets a little green ribbon tied around his neck. Dorothy can hardly wait, though. Like, Dorothy is like, I want to go see Ozma.
My
And so
BFF.
she just like gets Toto and Button Bright ready. She knows what to do with herself real quick.
Yeah.
And she gets the boys ready. And she's like, come on, guys. And they run down the hall to the drawing room where, seated upon a beautiful green throne with green satin cushions, is the lovely Princess Ozma. Happy birthday. Waiting eagerly to welcome her friend.
And that is the end
Whoa.
of chapter 9 and teen.
I can't wait for the party.
Oh, just get ready. You have to wait 2 days, but just get ready. But that is the end of chapter 19, the Shaggy Man's Welcome. And Blake, what would you call that?
Here they are, folks. I just feel like everyone's looking stunning and feeling the same way.
Yeah, I think that's a good end too.
Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we continue with Chapter 20, Princess Ozma of Oz. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for the latest on everything Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swingham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.